No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
As many observant YouTubers have already pointed out, Captain Marvel was one of the most protected films ever released, sandwiched between Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, two of the highest grossing films of all time. And with its lead Brie Larson alienating half of the demographic, Disney was forced to pressure Rotten Tomatoes to change the review scores to prevent quote-unquote review bombing, or what I simply call silencing dissenting opinions. 4 years later, after Captain Marvel soared into theaters with a staggering $153 million opening weekend, culminating in another billion-dollar movie, its sequel is headed for trouble. With a bloated budget of $220 million to about $270 million, the Marvels grapples with a shockingly disappointing debut, barely eclipsing the MCU's lowest opening day record held since 2008 by The Incredible Hulk. The sequel's opening figures are not just a whisper of concern, but a roaring signal of changing times. It's not superhero fatigue, but bad storytelling fatigue. The ludicrous last-minute trailers released over the past few weeks with Thanos, Iron Man, Captain America, and moments from better films stapled on should have been a clue that Disney was desperate.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
With an initial haul of $21.5 million from over 4,030 venues, including $6.6 million in previews, The Marvels is the MCU's second lowest opening weekend, and currently on track to hemorrhage money for the company.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
This tepid start is a stark contrast to Marvel Studios' once impervious box office dominance, marking a new low for the franchise.
We need some sort of distraction for everybody. Anything new on YouTube?
Initially envisioned as a solo sequel to Captain Marvel, The Marvels, directed by Nia DaCosta, morphed into a broader ensemble piece, a change that mirrored Brie Larson's own shift from being the franchise's leading figure to one of many. It's safe to say that with the company unsure what to do with Brie Larson and her overpowered character, beyond cameos to remind us that she existed, this film, more than any other in the MCU's repertoire, has faced its fair share of production tumult. So, does the film justify the seemingly endless wait? Does it deserve the low box office receipts? Or is the CGI-heavy team-up a sign that Disney's MCU is on its deathbed?
Allow me to break the ice.
Originally slated for a July 28, 2023 debut, The Marvels encountered 4 delays, finally settling on a November 10, 2023 release. While the initial postponements were reactionary moves by Marvel Studios in response to Phase 4's tepid reception, the most recent delays allegedly stem from internal friction, specifically between Larson and her co-star Teyonah Parris, who portrays Monica Rambeau. Jeff Schneider, a prominent film reporter, shared insights on his podcast, The Hot Mic, suggesting that the Marvel's production has been less than smooth sailing. He characterized the project as chaotic, attributing some of this to the purported clashes between Larson and Parris. Importantly, Snyder hinted at Larson's dissatisfaction with the film's title, indicating her preference for a direct sequel spotlighting her character, akin to other standalone Marvel titles. Now, his commentary ventures into the realm of industry gossip, yet it paints a picture of Larson, an Oscar winner, grappling with the changing dynamics of her role within the expansive Marvel universe. This scenario mirrors Mahershala Ali's Blade, another project with an Oscar-winning lead facing its share of pre-production challenges, with the writing team deciding to make Blade the 4th important character in his own debut film.
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
Snyder's observation suggests that the weight of expectations carried by acclaimed actors like Larson and Ali, and how a lack of synergy from the writing and creative team can and often will impact the quality of a film. Nia DaCosta's latest addition to the MCU has arrived to a landscape saturated with an overwhelming array of mediocre films and television shows that demand a near saint-like patience and willingness to endure discomfort. Post-Avengers Endgame, Disney's MCU has morphed into a leviathan churning out a seemingly endless stream of content. This strategy, driven by a mix of ambition and corporate greed, has led to a diluted quality across projects, as evidenced by the lukewarm reception of recent Disney television shows and fluctuating box office returns. The Marvels epitomizes this conundrum, a product of Marvel's own making, a trap sprung from its own success and excess. Veering away from a direct sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel, the film thrusts Brie Larson's Carol Danvers into an interwoven narrative that ties her fate with Monica Rambeau, played by Teyonah Parris of WandaVision, and Iman Vellani's charming Kamala Khan from Ms. Marvel. The film's backstory is so intertwined with its predecessors that it practically necessitates a rewatch of Captain Marvel, the consumption of Ms. Marvel and WandaVision, and a cursory glance at Secret Invasion, suggestively from a distance. I say that, but to be fair, watching all that will only explain who the characters are, not what the overall world building of the MCU is, as the film is so disjointed from everything that came before. Alongside writers Megan McDonnell and Alyssa Karasik, Nia DaCosta confronts a script that is a labyrinthine mix of unfinished character arcs, quantum band discussions, and offbeat attempts at humor reminiscent of discarded Guardians of the Galaxy drafts. The movie, anchored in the ever-expanding Marvel narrative, fails to fully leverage the dynamic trio of superheroes at its core. Captain Marvel, once a formidable Air Force pilot, now navigates space with a sense of solitude, plagued by regrets involving the Skrulls and Kree. Her estrangement with Monica, a subplot that is forgotten right after being introduced, is lost amidst a sea of competing storylines. Yet amidst this narrative congestion, Kamala Khan, portrayed with infectious zeal by Man Vellani, emerges as a beacon of charm and relatability, breathing life into the film with her fangirl enthusiasm and homespun comic adventures. Marvel's villains often criticized for their fleeting impact, save for notable exceptions like Thanos and Baron Zemo, who literally broke the Avengers, continue to struggle with memorability. In the Marvels, the trio faces off against Zoe Ashton's Dar-Ben, a Kree antagonist with vendetta against Carol, with as much screen presence and gravitas as a twig blowing in the wind. The opening act sets the stage with Dar-Ben, embroiled in the cliché Marvel villain trope of conquest and destruction, seeking a pair of powerful bracelets, one of which adorns Kamala's wrists, setting up a conflict that intertwines the fates of our heroines in a brisk yet narratively cluttered addition to the MCU. While it has decent performances from a handful of actors, especially Vellani's portrayal of Miss Marvel, it's ultimately hampered by its entanglement in the broader MCU storyline, plot holes, tonal inconsistencies, a lack of focus on character development, and a script that struggles under the weight of its ambitious thematic and narrative aspirations. In this video, we're going to explore the story, its characters, and why the film is another disappointing entry into the waning MCU.
Oh my god, we're a team.
This is the start of a new beginning.
That's not good news.
Oh my god!
I can't. Can you?
I got it.
The narrative unfurls with Dar-Ben ascending to the helm of the Kree civilization. Without an explanation of how she knew where to look, the movie begins with Dar-Ben finding a quantum band on a random moon before the antagonist, harnessing the power of the bangle, incites cosmic disturbances to catch the attention of Saber. And without any mention of why she doesn't know where the other bangle was, we head over to Kamala, ensconced in daydreams of interstellar adventures with Captain Marvel. Simultaneously, Carol's odyssey for lost memories using Skrull technology collides with Nick Fury's directive to investigate a mysterious jump point anomaly. Monica Rambeau, freshly endowed with powers, is also tasked by Saber, leading to a cataclysmic moment where she, Carol, and Kamala find themselves in a bewildering game of cosmic musical chairs. This chaotic ballet of space-time switcheroo sees Carol landing on the planet Tarnax, diving into the heart of Kree machinations. Facing the impending doom of Hala, here Dar-Ben seeks an alliance with Emperor Droge. In this maelstrom, Carol, dubbed the Annihilator by the Kree, faces an onslaught, only for the trio's continuous swapping to throw the narrative into a whirlwind of confusion and confrontation. The Kree assailants aiming for Carol and Tarnax find themselves comically misplacing Kamala's earthly abode, leading to a crescendo of disarray that culminates in their defeat and arrest by Saber agents. This skirmish paves the way for Fury and Rambeau's arrival at the Khan household, where they begin to unravel the enigma of Kamala's powers and their cosmic link to Carol and Monica. The three heroes are essentially switching places when at least two of them use their powers at the same time.
Physics.
In a moment of eager demonstration, Kamala's attempt to showcase her abilities to Monica inadvertently triggers another switch, sending Carol, engaged in a Tarnaxian confrontation, back into the fray. The brief tension-filled reunion between Carol and Monica, long estranged and evidently not prepared for a heartfelt dialogue, is abruptly cut short as a space-time switcheroo sends Carol swapping places with Kamala, who finds herself plummeting from the sky. Mastering her newfound ability to fly, Monica intervenes, only to be caught in the dizzying cycle of swaps with Carol, sending her and Kamala to the planet Tarnax, where they encounter Dar-Ben. Their presence confounds the Kree leader, who ponders their connection to Captain Marvel. Carol's arrival, thanks to her ability to travel at the speed of light, escalates the tension, leading to a fight where Dar-Ben realizes her bangle can absorb the energy of Carol. Observing this, Kamala wisely chooses to keep her own bangle concealed to avoid becoming Dar-Ben's primary target. The ongoing interdimensional switches thwart Carol and Monica's efforts to subdue Dar-Ben, allowing the villain to exploit the chaos. And utilizing a Cosmirod, Dar-Ben activates a jump point on Tarnax, tragically decimating the planet by extracting its atmosphere and placing Skrull refugees under the Emperor in peril. In a desperate rescue, the Marvels manage to save numerous Skrulls, but not all. Frustrated by the interference, Emperor Droge, on the cusp of a peace treaty with the Kree, bitterly condemns Captain Marvel's intervention, blaming her for Tarnax's destruction. However, Carol contends that the Kree had always intended for this catastrophic outcome. With this movie not wanting to deal with the Skrulls and their impact on the MCU in any meaningful way, Valkyrie arrives via the Bifrost Bridge, offering the Skrulls asylum on New Asgard.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Bear in mind, New Asgard is on Earth, and the entire Secret Invasion show was about the Skrull invasion of Earth. I'd say this is an example of cognitive dissonance on behalf of the writers, but I digress to preserve my own sanity. In the aftermath, the trio delves into the significance of the bangles. Carol identifies Kamala's bangle as a quantum band, possessing the power to manipulate time and space, a revelation corroborated by Kamala's past temporal experiences. The unification of these bands hints at a formidable control over these cosmic forces. In a piece of revisionist history, the film also revisits Captain Marvel's past, revealing her as the Annihilator, a title earned following her destruction of the Supreme Intelligence after the events of Captain Marvel. This act inadvertently sparked the Kree Civil War, devastating Hala and leading to the collapse of the Kree Empire as the planet's resources and sun began to wane. The narrative moves to a pivotal juncture as the heroes grapple with their next move and Dar-Ben's potential targets. Kamala's glimpse of star maps on Tarnax becomes crucial, but her memory fails her, and so Carol employs fracking pods to intertwine the memories of the trio, revealing poignant moments from their past. This effectively unveils the root of Monica's resentment towards Carol, the pain of losing her mother Maria during the blip, and Carol's absence during this period of profound loss. In the backdrop of this emotional revelation, Fury informs them that Kamala's family is relocated to Saber for safety. However, the sanctuary soon turns precarious as mysterious eggs begin to manifest across the space station, and system malfunctions ensue, a result of Dar-Ben's jump point manipulations. A strategic realization dawns on Carol. Dar-Ben's vengeance is meticulously aimed at planets linked to her, an insidious ploy targeting Carol's past connections while harvesting resources to revitalize Hala. With this, Carol's intuition leads them to Aladna, a planet abundant in water and entwined with her personal history, a destination that she approaches with evident trepidation. Upon arriving there, Monica and Kamala uncover the source of Carol's discomfort. She's royalty there, having entered into a political union with the planet's prince to prevent a power struggle. Aladna welcomes its princess with melodic adoration, revealing a unique cultural trait. Its inhabitants communicate exclusively through song. This revelation is illustrated in a whimsical scene where Carol and Prince Yan engage in a musical dialogue amidst the Aladnan nobility. The movie tries to paint this as cute and colorful, but my ears were screaming otherwise. Prince Yan, thankfully proficient in both song and speech, stops the singing and rallies the Marvels and his forces in anticipation of the Kree onslaught. And as Dar-Ben and her forces descend upon the planet demanding fealty, Yan and his people refuse, sparking a fierce battle to defend their home. Working together, Carol and Monica focus their efforts on thwarting Dar-Ben and her use of the Cosmorod, seeking to prevent the formation of another catastrophic jump point between Aladna and Hala. Although the pair nearly stopped Dar-Ben's plan to drain Aladna's resources, an unexpected switch between Carol and Kamala gives Dar-Ben the upper hand, enabling her to create a jump point that begins to deplete the planet's water. With the trio pursued in their ship by an overwhelming force of Kree vessels, Kamala makes an executive decision for them to use the jump point and travel to safety, thereby preventing Dar-Ben from collecting her bangle. Now, given that Carol was not only this planet's protector, but effectively its princess, you'd think that she'd do everything to stop the destruction, and at the very least be concerned about their fate throughout the movie. Remember when Monica and Kamala switched places with her earlier and found themselves on Tarnax? Carol flew there in a few seconds all the way from Earth. But instead of saving the lives of innocent civilians that were under her protection on Aladna, much like they did on Tarnax, we have a scene where Carol is instead haunted by the guilt of dismantling the Supreme Intelligence years ago, an act that she believes precipitated the Kree Empire's downfall and the ensuing planetary destructions. I need to point out that the whole premise of Captain Marvel destroying the Supreme Intelligence occurs in a better film we didn't see. Between her debut film and now, we're supposed to believe that she not only effectively committed genocide, but that over 40 years she didn't bother going back there to undo her mistake, in another example of character assassination in the MCU. Her actions should also have some bearing on how Monica and Kamala now see her, but Monica brushes the genocide aside by complaining that she needed her more than the galaxy did, while the awestruck fan Kamala forgives Carol in an instant. It's like any chance for interpersonal conflict is quickly squashed. This could have been a great point of contention between the heroes that temporarily fractures the group for the second act low before they unify, but it's skimmed over with a rapid resolution. Worse than that, you might think we're going to hear back from Prince Yan and Aladna.
Right? Wrong.
But as far as the writers are concerned, they're out of the picture, which is both insane and kind of messed up. Driven by her shame and fear of tarnishing her heroic image in Monica's eyes, Carol had basically avoided both Earth and Monica. I mean, it's more shameful to abandon the water planet you technically rule and let those people be swallowed up in a rift in space-time. But hey, I'm no moralist, just an inquisitive viewer. It's implied Hala has no breathable oxygen, water, or sunlight, which is why Dar-Ben is using the portals to siphon the atmosphere from Tarnax and water from Aladna. Yet we see the Kree civilization living there accepting their slow demise instead of just, finding another planet. The film is trying to expand on the multiverse, but the universe feels so bloody small. Both the Kree and Skrulls seek out resource-depleting vendettas against other races instead of just looking for a new home. Because of this, the movie feels so disconnected from everything that has come before. The Secret Invasion show, for example, focused on the repercussions of Nick not finding the Skrulls a new home, yet here we have Fury protecting space jump portals that he could have used to help them, thereby avoiding the war that Gravik wanted to start with Earth in the first place. As the candid admission paves the way for reconciliation between Carol and Monica, the plot thickens back at Saber, where an infestation of Flurkin eggs belonging to Goose creates an uproar. This leads to a bizarre and chaotic evacuation scenario, with the staff being told by Fury to allow the newly hatched Flurkins to swallow them, thus ensuring there was enough space on the remaining escape pods, all to the score of Memory from the musical Cats. It's funny, you see, because cats. The film then culminates in a high-stakes battle near the sun, with Dar-Ben wanting to use our sun to power the dying one that once illuminated the Kree home world. Showcasing teamwork and adapting to their constant switching, the Marvels return for their final round. Despite the advantage of Carol's nondescript and near-limitless power, Dar-Ben's bangle, capable of absorbing energy attacks, somehow levels the playing field. I mean, Kamala also has one, so this should be light work for the Marvels, but we'll just have to go with it. Not only that, but in Endgame, Captain Marvel is almost able to defeat Thanos while he wielded the Infinity Gauntlet with every stone, and Dar-Ben is just a Kree without any intrinsic powers, so the fight should have been over on their first confrontation, with one finishing move.
Your powers only make me stronger.
With that said, the team momentarily subdue Dar-Ben, leading to a pivotal moment where Monica persuades Carol to use her abilities to rejuvenate Hala's son rather than resorting to violence. Let's not forget this was Dar-Ben's motivation and goal all along. Yet, unable to help themselves, in another textbook example of character assassination, the writers have Dar-Ben agreeing to the plan before betraying them by seizing Kamala and her bangle.
It's all bullshit! All of it!
In addition to that, Carol can travel the speed of light, so Dar-Ben shouldn't have the reaction time to counter her. But okay, let the villain cook, or be cooked as we're about to discover. With Dar-Ben now wielding dual cosmic bands, her newfound power propels her toward the jump point with cataclysmic intent. However, an overload of power disintegrates the villain and transforms the jump point into a more ominous dimensional rift, presenting an existential threat to the multiverse. Unlike the Avengers, who in their 2012 team-up get over their own emotional baggage and distrust of each other and end up working together to defeat Loki, the Marvels team-up was ultimately pointless because Dar-Ben was always going to die of her own stupidity. Faced with the cosmic anomaly of the rift, Monica posits a bold strategy, suggesting they amplify her energy absorption capabilities using Carol and Kamala's powers, enabling her to seal this perilous breach in the fabric of space-time. Kamala dons both bangles, demonstrating a remarkable aptitude for harnessing their combined energy somehow, and united, Carol and Kamala empower Monica, who ventures beyond the threshold of the dimensional hole to commence its closure. In a moment of self-sacrifice, she reveals her intent to remain in this alternate realm, ensuring the rift's permanent closure. Despite Carol's attempt to retrieve her, Monica completes her mission at the cost of her return. Meanwhile, Kamala, left to navigate back to Earth independently, witnesses Carol's departure to Hala. There, Carol endeavors to rejuvenate the Kree sun, an act of redemption for her past actions that contributed to the Empire's downfall. She literally spent 30 years of walloping in self-pity and apathy, with her inaction angering multiple worlds, so to see her rectify this in just a few seconds is underwhelming, and only just makes me question why she didn't do this earlier. The narrative then moves back to Earth, where Kamala and her family help Carol in moving into Maria and Monica's Louisiana home. The conversation between Carol and Kamala underscores their shared longing for Monica, coupled with a hopeful anticipation of her eventual return. In a scene set against the backdrop of New York, Kamala, channeling her inner Nick Fury, approaches Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye series and proposes the formation of a young Avengers team. In a post-credit scene, we return to Monica, who finds herself in an alternate reality, reeling from an emotional encounter with a version of her mother who's unfamiliar with her existence, suggesting she never had a child in this reality. The scene culminates with the arrival of Kelsey Grammer's Beast from the X-Men, who elucidates Monica's situation. She's effectively stranded in a parallel universe. Not only that, but this is underscored by the revelation that in this universe, Maria, not Carol, has become the superhero called Binary. The vignette sets the stage for an expansive Secret Wars narrative, seemingly posed to entangle multiple universes in a colossal multiversal conflict, and not-so-subtle nods to the impending introduction of the X-Men and potentially the Fantastic Four into the MCU, which we would have been happy to see 5 to 6 years ago, but now only makes us worried about what they're going to do to the characters.
There will always be more to finish it.
This is just the beginning. You cannot protect your people.
You can stand tall without standing alone.
The Marvels distinguishes itself in the MCU by its brisk 105-minute runtime, a deviation from the franchise's tendency for lengthier epics. This expeditious pacing briskly navigates through a cosmos where space magic is the catch-all explanation for the myriad of fantastical phenomena, from the peculiarities of the hero's powers to the grand cosmic conundrums. We meet Kamala Khan, who can morph light into tangible matter, and Monica Rambeau, whose eclectic array of abilities includes seeing the electromagnetic spectrum, emitting lasers, absorbing energy, phasing through objects, and flying. Basically, whatever the story requires at any given time. How did Monica get these powers? By touching a force field hex created by the Scarlet Witch in WandaVision. And when it comes to Captain Marvel, she remains an enigma in terms of her power scale and personality. She's basically Superman with unlimited powers and no kryptonite. Despite her demonstrated capabilities, like navigating space at the speed of light and demolishing spacecrafts with ease, her inconsistent strength, especially in her struggle against a space hammer-wielding Dar-Ben, adds to the film's thematic and mechanical dissonance. More than that, I still don't know who Captain Marvel is, nor do I know what she believes or stands for after 2 films where she's the star. In fact, after discovering her history of genocide without consequence, I can't help but see her character as a monster now. When you think about it, more than the writers did, she's actually done more damage than Dar-Ben ever did, yet nobody calls her out on it other than the villain. And more than that, I have no idea why her Captain Marvel uniform still has the Kree symbol on it. That's like Captain America wearing a Hydra uniform, which he does when he's evil. A subplot involving Captain Marvel's quest to recover her memories, linked to the Kree and their history with the Skrulls, serves as a narrative device rather than a focal thematic element, as it too is forgotten as soon as it's introduced. The film's reliance on the audience's recollection of past MCU events is evident, banking on their familiarity with characters and plot points from previous entries, but doing nothing with it.
I am tired of the same old phrases, the same old things.
Its fast-paced but disjointed narrative is reflective of the studio's current trajectory and their inability to balance individual storytelling with its overarching universe-building ambitions. The action sequences, while visually striking with their sparkle finger weightlessness, lack a sense of gravity and urgency, primarily due to the film's superficial engagement with its central conflict. A critical aspect of the plot involves Dar-Ben's ruthless crusade across planets, exploiting their natural resources to rejuvenate the dying Kree home world. However, the film falters in imparting a sense of gravitas of Dar-Ben's genocidal acts, who remains a forgettable 2-dimensional villain. Despite their heroic disposition, the Marvels seem disconcertingly detached from the magnitude of these atrocities, and the genocide committed by Carol in a more interesting film we didn't see, undermining the narrative's moral compass. As I've said before, the biggest glaring example of this narrative incongruence is the demise of Aladna, and how its fate is unaddressed until the very end in a throwaway line added in reshoots by the writers. We're told the planets Tarnax and Aladna are fine, along with their people, but we saw their atmosphere and water being violently ripped away, so this feels implausible, and more like an attempt by the writers to retroactively undo their own work. This moment, emblematic of the film's broader storytelling approach, portrays significant events with a fleeting attention span, hoping the audience renders them inconsequential and forgotten. And let's not even get started on the inconsistency and nonsensical nature of the jump points and the physics mechanics of siphoning air, water, and sunlight from other solar systems. It's not like the holes are opening into the vacuum of space to facilitate the suction that cripples Tarnax and Aladna. It's simply a bridge between 2 planets, so nothing should be happening but a slow mix of their atmospheres. None of it makes sense.
You have no respect for logic. I have no respect for those with no respect for logic.
The convergence of Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica, who's yet to embrace a superhero alias, unfolds through a labyrinth of MacGuffins. It's implied the trio swap places when at least 2 of them use their light-based powers in unison. But this isn't always the case, and there are many inconsistencies with when and how they switch throughout. The quirk, while amusing during the film's dynamic combat sequences, outstays its welcome when the writers forget the rules. If you want us to take the narrative seriously, then you need to give us the same courtesy. The film attempts to juggle humor, poignancy, grandiosity, and a touch of the bizarre, all while striving to stay grounded. But nothing seems to be taken seriously by any of the characters at the most critical of times, and there are no consequences for Captain Marvel's actions on Hala, Tarnax, and Aladna. The injection of whimsical absurdity into the narrative also doesn't quite mesh with the tone of the Marvels, which is about genocides committed in the past and present by both the main hero and villain, leading to moments that feel out of sync with the film's overall atmosphere. The action sequences are kinetic, punctuated by balletic camera movements that, while occasionally impressive, underscore a choreographed artificiality and dependency on visual effects that continue to bloat the budgets of these films, which now eclipse $200 million with each entry. Moments of tension and drama are present, but they're fleeting, as the narrative propels the character swiftly from one plot point to the next. Character development, particularly for Carol and Monica, feels cursory, with their arcs lacking depth and their responses largely reactive to the unfolding events. Their characters are sketched more through expository dialogue than through actions that reveal their inner complexities or growth. With that said, Kamala Khan, portrayed with infectious energy by Iman Vellani, emerges as the film's most engaging character. Her interactions with her family provide a relatable context, and Vellani's genuine enthusiasm for her role, fueled by her real-life fandom of Marvel, adds a layer of authenticity and fervor that her co-stars lack. Samuel L. Jackson, reprising his role as Nick Fury, navigates through his 12th Marvel film as a shell of his former self, seemingly present by virtue of being Samuel L. Jackson. He's gone from a badass motherfucker to a sad-ass motherfucker.
See, now that's some bullshit.
Nia DaCosta tries to propel the narrative with brisk pacing. However, due to the frenetic editing, the film is all over the place, too often stumbling into narrative plot holes, broken mechanics, a lack of character development, and inconsistent world building, leaving unanswered questions and a reliance on just-go-with-it rationalizations. This is indicative of a broader issue within the MCU, its cumbersome interconnectedness without purpose and guidance. It's clear that Marvel Studios can't foresee the overarching direction, as the writing teams on every project aren't communicating with each other about how their film or show affects the broader landscape. Beyond tacking on new characters at the end, hoping to create buzz, Disney's MCU, once a titan of pop culture innovation, is a rudderless ship heading towards an iceberg. As such, the Marvels doesn't just represent another chapter in the MCU, but serves as a harbinger for the franchise's future. And the box office doesn't lie.
Your film. Your flight attendants are Susan and Lan. We're here to make your trip as comfortable as possible.
Excuse me. Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
The movie's failure to find any narrative consistency, a thematic heart, or imbue its characters with depth transform what could have been a salvageable superhero adventure into a perfunctory exercise in franchise maintenance. Only the technicians are blind, don't have the right tools, or the heart to figure out how to fix the problem.
No sequel for you.
With that said, that's all for today, folks. A huge thanks to everyone that requested we explore the Marvels. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if there's anything else you'd like for me to cover, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
Higher, further, faster. Together.
The Marvels.